Everybody's here. Okay, I think we're live.
Yep.
All right. Here we go. All right, welcome back to Locked, Loaded, and Goated. We got a Wednesday roundtable. We got Jeff Riddle Jr., aka Redbird, on the top. We got Tony El Duque Pardo on the bottom, and we're going to go over some topics with you guys here today that we think are pertinent for college football and preparing you for the weekend. First topic, obviously one of the big games this weekend, Texas, Oklahoma, Red River Shootout. No Quinn Ewers. Tony, how do you feel?
Well, not confident in Texas winning, that's for sure. I feel like it's going to be a pretty good game. Oklahoma, they got the young kid quarterback who can move around a little bit, put up a couple touchdowns maybe. Texas defense, supposed to be one of the top defenses in the league. I guess we'll see. This will really be their first true test of the season. I know they've already played, one SEC game, but that was
That was state. That was state. Yeah, that was state. That's erroneous. All right.
You got the kid. Yeah, you got the kid Arch Manning, though. Yeah, you got the kid Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Not saying he's going to be bad, but, I mean, you have the solidified, bona fide stud, probably the stud quarterback in college football right now, and Ewers, who's not playing. So,
yeah. All right, Riddle, what do you think? What's your opinions on this game?
I think it's a very interesting matchup just from the rivalry standpoint, because there's been years that Texas was supposed to win and Oklahoma won. There's been years that Oklahoma was supposed to win and Texas has won. We were talking about Arch being a kid, but he's grown up pretty fast. I mean, he's 55 of 78 for 901 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions this year. But like we brought up, they hadn't really played elite competition. I mean, Michigan, they beat 31-12 at the Big House, but Michigan's Michigan this year. They lost a lot, and
they just lost to Washington this week.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is good, but it's not an SEC caliber defense. Oklahoma showed up against Tennessee and with a freshman quarterback and all their receivers banged up. If they can get something going against Texas defense, or it could be a really good game. If they can't, it could be a really long day.
Yeah.
The leading rusher only has 199 yards on the year, so that's not very promising. And plus, like I said, their wide receiver room's pretty scarce right now.
All the rushers are hurt. I mean, everybody at Texas is hurt.
And I'm not buying into the Arch hype yet, but the kid looks good, and unlike his uncles, he can make plays with his feet. So,
yeah,
I like Texas in this one.
Ooh.
This weekend, but
I feel like we're all with you. The whole country's with you in that regard.
There's a later evening game. This is 2:30 game. So I know it's a rivalry game. Spotlight really is not going to be on them. So
yeah,
I think Oklahoma. I think they'll play loose. I'm not saying they're going to win. I think it's going to be close. I don't think they'll win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my feeling on it.
I got a strange sensation. It's closer than the experts think, to quote Corso. But I think that at the end of the day, Texas is too deep on defense. Their offense, while it's banged up, has some playmakers, and Oklahoma's just down. Oklahoma's just not who they were. They have a quarterback situation. We could say that the young kid is good. He's great. He's this, he's that. But at the same time, he struggled against Auburn. I mean, they ended up winning the game because of the pick 6. But this kid is, while talented, not saying he's not talented, but like I always tell you, Tony, young quarterbacks do young quarterback things. You can't do that in the Texas game. I think Texas wins. Hook 'em horns. All right.
He's got a lot of heart, though. The kid's got a lot of heart.
The dude's a playmaker. The dude for Arkansas is a playmaker. But, like, I mean, he's not Quinn Ewers, and he's not Arch Manning. But again, sometimes you just need a little bit. So we're going to see what happens. Oklahoma's defense is going to go all out for these guys. Oklahoma's defense didn't play terrible against Tennessee either. They played pretty decent. They just had no offense, so they couldn't stay off the field.
Well,
yeah, I mean Tennessee's good too.
Now it's I think any defense that's decent is going to give Tennessee a hard time, but we'll get to that another minute.
Yeah. So, all right, going on to the next game. I felt like this is one for Tony, who was a bandwagon fan last year. He fell off a little bit, but we're going to talk about Colorado, Kansas State. It's a big game for Colorado, big game for Kansas State. Both teams are playing well. Is either team for real?
For real?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think this is going to be Colorado's real first challenge. I mean, besides Nebraska, I know Nebraska, you know, they did what they did to them. That's early in the season. Colorado's looked better, but I'm still not. And I know last year I was a big homer. Yeah, I liked what they had going on. I almost contemplated buying one of those pullovers. But tunes changed a little bit because they've been pretty, average at best a lot of times. O-line still stinks. D-line still stinks. They got Shador and they got Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
That's about it. And K-State's not a pushover for themselves, you know. Speaking for themselves.
K-State's going to run the ball. They're going to control the clock. They're going to do a lot of the things that we know to keep these teams like Colorado off the field, to keep the offense off. So K-State looks good. I mean, they had a big win last week, and I think Colorado is going to give them a challenge. So I'm kind of curious on this one. Spread's only 4.5. I mean,
yeah, it's an interesting spread, and like you said, they are going to run the ball. DJ Giddens has 83 carries for 604 yards this year, averaging 7.3 yards a carry. I mean, the kid's having a good year, and I think they're just going to control the clock. I'm not sold on Colorado's defense. They do, in my opinion, have one of the, if not the best player in the nation in Travis Hunter.
That's one guy, though. Yeah, that's one guy.
Just one guy.
Well, I guess he's two guys since he plays both sides.
Shador never has time. If the kid had more time, it would be a different story, but it's the same thing as last year. Any elite competition that they play, they got exposed.
Yeah.
It was fun in the beginning, but they came back down to reality real quick.
Yeah.
I don't see Colorado being able to do enough in that game at all.
So just talking real quick though, ask both of you, the total 56.5. You going over or under?
I think I'll probably go over.
We know what both offenses can do. But then we also watch Nebraska and Colorado go under that. So it's kind of a toss up, I guess. I
mean, Shador, offensive line aside, Shador's going to get his. He's throwing for 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns this year. No, they've beat UCF, Baylor, Colorado State, Nebraska, or they lost to Nebraska and had that struggle win against North Dakota State. But I mean, North Dakota State's no pushover either.
No, they're probably the best FCS team. So
I just don't think I like Dion as a character.
Yes,
I just don't think what he's doing is sustainable.
I like him as a Madden character.
Yeah. Well, they say though. Madden. Yeah. Well, they say though. I mean, the games are won where in football. In the trenches.
In the trenches. Yeah, in the trenches.
And this is going to be a tougher matchup than what Colorado's had. I know they're home, and you know, but I've seen them struggle at home too, so I don't think that really matters.
Definitely more. They definitely have more talent on K-State's line than Colorado does.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, when you got Warren Sapp trying to teach the defense, I mean, anything's possible. We all know that matchups play a big role in college football, so anything's possible. We'll move on. So this is a big point. Riddle, I'll let you go first. I'm going to toss this one to you. But the Army, Navy, do they remain undefeated? Well, we know one of them has a bye this week, and the other one has UAB. Mm-hmm. The big news on this is the potential conference title game that could supersede the Army-Navy game. Have at it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Because, I mean, if you look at their schedules, it's very possible. I mean, both have to play Notre Dame, and we know Notre Dame can get beat. So let's just say hypothetically they're undefeated going into conference championship week, which means they would play each other.
But Notre Dame does not. But Notre Dame does not kick them out of their title game. That's the caveat.
No, not at all.
So I mean, they could still play each other. Right. They could still play each other. In the conference title game a week before the regular Army-Navy game.
Right. And then a week later have to play each other again. And, I mean...
Who's in charge of scheduling?
If you look at their schedule, Army's got UAB, ECU, Air Force, all at home. and they're at North Texas, home against Notre Dame, home against UTSA, and then the neutral site game against Navy after the conference championship game.
Yeah.
So very winnable schedule for them. They've looked really good. And then Navy's remaining schedule, they've got obviously Notre Dame too. I think that's in a few weeks' time. But oh yeah. So they got Charlotte next weekend, and then the weekend after it's Notre Dame. Then it's at Rice, at South Florida, home against Tulane, at ECU. So I mean, both of them teams are the service academies are playing good football.
All right, we got a member in the chat says ECU is going to beat Army next Saturday.
Already look at the next week.
Oh man, okay.
I want to calm down a little bit.
Alabama got beat by Vanderbilt.
Anything can happen. Yeah. I think this year in college football,
anything can happen.
It's close. I mean, anything can happen. But it's fun to think about because especially if both of these teams go into that game with potentially just one loss, if they both lose to Notre Dame, that could have playoff implications, and they have to play each other twice. So it's gonna be fun.
I wonder if they opt out. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So with that said, big game of the week. Big game of the week is no doubt Ohio State at Oregon. Ohio State at Oregon. So both teams now they're top three. So this is a top three matchup. This is now the biggest game. This is now the biggest game of the year so far. It was the Alabama-Georgia game. That's changed. So now this is the capital game. Tony, what do you see happening here?
Probably going to be a bad night for Oregon. That's what I'm going to say. It's not the same offense over the last, 4 years now. It's a different offense. I know it's going to be in Oregon. It's going to be a late game. All that good stuff. Ohio State, not a fan of them anyway, so this is not me just hating on Oregon. This is Ohio State just being Ohio State. They can do things better than what Oregon can do. Now, I'm not saying that Oregon can't come out. You know how it is. Teams always come out high flying, all that stuff, pumped up for the game. I'm sure Oregon's going to do all that. Probably give them their best shots, like I like to say, like a lot of underdog teams do. Like, give the best shots. Probably going to tire down a little bit. And then Ohio State's going to do what they do. Now, I'm not going to say Ohio State's going to win by 30 because they haven't been that dominant this year.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Yeah. I know they've had some games where they did have a couple blowouts, but that's against no ones. Now, this is going to be a good competition for Ohio State because up to this point, they haven't had, really anyone to just beat their chest about whipping their ass. So, I mean, this is going to be a test for Ohio State, too, but I still think Ohio State's going to pull it out regardless wherever it's at. It could be a neutral site, could be in Africa. I don't care. Oregon, it's just a different team. The offense does not look the same. They struggle. They do struggle.
Ohio State does have 20 million reasons to be better than Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
So,
if they don't, then I'm going to laugh at them. If they don't beat Oregon, I'll laugh my ass off at them. Yeah. Because sometimes money doesn't buy championships.
I don't think the model's sustainable, but Riddle, what do you think? What do you see happening?
Well, the Oregon team that played against Idaho at the beginning of the year looked abysmal. It was bad.
100%.
Then they had the tough game against Boise State, who, again, has one of those guys that might be the best player in college football.
Yeah.
And they won a close one there. And people were wanting to write them off. They fell in the rankings, and then they've come back, and they beat Oregon State, UCLA on the road in blowouts, and then they blew out Michigan State, which is what it is. Yeah. But I'm not counting them out. There's a reason that line is only 3, and it hasn't moved.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, Ohio State is what Ohio State is. They are going to get talent in there year in and year out. And Tony brought it up. They haven't played anybody yet that they can really say, oh, look what we've done here.
Yeah.
Oregon has been tested, whether it was by a good team or a bad team, whether it was their own fault or the other team's fault. But I like this matchup. I'm not saying it's going to be a long day for Oregon. I think Oregon can really make a statement here. I think Dylan Gabriel's finally playing good. He's settling in, and they're starting to put up not the numbers we're used to when it comes to an Oregon offense, but the defense has really been looking good. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think it's going to be a very close game, and I think it could go either way.
Well, Blake Henderson in the chat says OSU always folds under pressure.
You're not lying.
We're gonna see what happens. Oregon is at home. It's gonna be a crazy atmosphere, as we all know. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sold on Will Howard. I'm sold that all he has to do is hand the ball off to two of the best running backs in the nation. But Ohio State is just too deep. They are just too deep to fail. I know Oregon's got a good team. I'm not going to count them out. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I just think this is the season that Ohio State has waited on. All the champions, all the big dogs have kind of had their moments where they faltered. And I think Ohio State comes out and sets the tone and they beat Oregon. And Blake also mentioned Day is coaching for his jobs. And I think his players like him. So I think he is coaching to save his job.
This needs to be noted. Out of their 5 games, Ohio State, 4 of them have been at home.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Only one on the road was Michigan State. So for this to be a true road test against a really good football team in that atmosphere, we'll see how those guys respond. I think it's going to be a good game. I do like the fact that he said that OSU folds under pressure because
they do.
They do. That's 100%. Yeah, 100%. So, all right, we're gonna spend a little time on this next topic. Riddle, you're gonna have to bear with us.
That's fine. I'm here for
this. This is the loser circle. So, Alabama and Tennessee both lost this weekend. In what we would say embarrassing fashion. One's probably a little more embarrassing than the other, but with that said, neither team expected this loss. Neither team expected this to happen. I'm going to lead the way, Tony, with Alabama losing to Vanderbilt. A couple of points I wanted to point out. So one of the things that I was most concerned with is not really the loss as much as I was trying to hold the team together to see if we could salvage the season. We have a chance at a playoff, even though you lose to Vanderbilt. You know, with the playoff at 12 teams now, one loss is not going to kick you out in the SEC. I think we all agree with that. But with that said, how was this team going to respond? How are we going to gel together? We're going to come together as a team, or we're going to break apart? Well, a pretty substantial defensive lineman, Jaheim Otis, has announced that he's going to opt out the rest of the season. He's going to redshirt, and he is going to transfer. So this is what I was worried about. I was worried about the team breaking up, the band, not getting back together, and it looks like it's starting to crumble. How we respond as a coaching staff is going to be critical. Just so you know, Clinton Dix, former Alabama safety and Green Bay Packer, he is part of the team. He is one of the part of player personnel, player development. And on Twitter, he posted this, and I want to see what you guys think. Players are opting out to redshirt a year because they didn't get playing time. What about creating good habits, working on your craft? You just quit? No more reps at practice, no more routines? Just go into the portal rusty? Got it. What do you guys think about that? Because this is something that it's kind of unheard of, but now with the NIL and just so you know, two big SEC teams have already reached out to him. One of them being Ole Miss. So with that being said, they're trying to get this guy. They saw it and they're trying to get him. This guy is also, when interviewed, said, "Please talk to my agent." So is this a guy that, what do you guys think about this? This right here scares the hell out of me.
I think they've created their own monster with the NIL and all that. It's free agency in college football. These kids can do this now. Used to, if you wanted to transfer somewhere and play, you had to sit out a season, and now I think it's like your third transfer before you have to sit out. And it's all about the money, and it's all about me, and it's all about playing time and getting exposure and all that. I mean, it's not going to be the last time. Definitely not the first time that this has happened.
Really, the only good thing I could see coming out of this is that means the days of having, a certain school be dominant for years, pretty much, a dynasty.
Yeah,
Those
I think it's over.
They're pretty much over with.
Yeah.
Because it's like the NFL.
Yeah.
There's besides the Chiefs, that's a different story. But Patriots just because they had Tom Brady. But I think as a college NIL, there's going to be a lot of teams that got money. They're going to throw it around to whatever guy they need, at that position.
So
and it's going to end the days of dominant college team yearly, like winning.
And I think it's
going to be random for everyone.
I think it's going to hurt the kids. Go ahead, Riddle.
Character-wise,
we're old school. We're old school
Yeah,
SEC guys.
I don't
I
like
know
it.
that's not one on my team.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I just like I think we mentioned or you did before, like or someone I know I've heard someone mention like when it comes to NIL, if you take that deal with the school, then you got at least
Contracts.
you got yeah like
Yes.
a 2-year
I
contract.
agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think we need contracts.
2-year
100%.
contract.
That way
You're
we're
gonna have-
both getting.
You're going to have to come up with some kind of structure for
Yeah.
it, or it's just going to continue getting more and more out of hand.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I'm not going to dwell on that too much, but my big thing is, does it take away from the players? And the reason why I say that is some players, like defensive linemen, offensive linemen, they need 2 or 3 years to develop into college football players, not just as mentally, but physically. And now these players don't even want to sit out and wait their turn. There's been several key players that have done that and gone on to get lucrative NFL contracts. And I'm sure, we could all name a few from our team, but like the deal is nobody wants to do that anymore. They want me, now. All right, moving on to the next subject. This is Alabama's defensive coordinator has come out, taken responsibility for his shit show of a defense on Saturday. He said they were trying to do some things and they just didn't work. They did make adjustments at halftime, even though most of us Alabama fans disagree with that. It just didn't work out. Blake, that's a good idea. I don't want to miss this topic. This is a good point, guys. Blake said maybe a transfer fee for players that transfer, make them pay to transfer.
Yeah,
But,
it-
but how do you prevent the school though from just paying that off? I guess I don't know.
They probably
There's
still
rules.
would, but
Yeah, there's rules, I guess. But either way, I mean, I guess
Clause.
Yeah, I mean, there's some players. There's some players I would just give you. You don't even. I don't even need to.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, Kane Womack. He said he said I take ownership for the defense. The players came out and said this week. The players came out and said this week that the headset audio, they're getting the play calls in a little too late and they have no time to adjust. I don't know how true that is. I know it cuts off the 15 seconds before the play clock, and I know Vandy was running the play clock down below the 15-second mark to try to consume the clock and try to do those things. So I'm sitting here wondering to myself, okay, are we just not getting the plays in fast enough? This is just what the players said. I'm not sure. It's something to keep an eye on in the future. But in terms of Alabama moving forward, this game is going to be critical for us. And we're going to talk about it a little deeper when we go into the predictions. But this game is going to be critical. And all eyes are going to be on Alabama to see how we bounce back.
I agree.
Tony.
I mean,
Yeah, go ahead, Riddle.
I was just going to say, the 2 SEC games that Alabama has played this year, they gave up 34 to Georgia and then 40 to Vanderbilt, and that's not what we're used to seeing out of an Alabama defense.
Absolutely not. But, the offense is still kicking, which we knew Kalen DeBoer was good at. I just think we're going to have to find that Kirby Smart, which I know that's easier said than done, obviously, but he's going to have to find his defensive coordinator. I don't know if this guy's it or not. He might grow into it, but right now he's still got some growing to do. I can tell you that. Tony.
See what he does against Beamer Bowl.
Yeah. Tony, can Tennessee bounce back? Yay or nay? Go.
I mean, they can. Yes or no? Offensively or defensively, it's I'm not worried about that. Offensively, though, I'm just not seeing it happen right now. I expected them to. I thought they were going to. In the last 2 games, it kind of just proved me wrong. Made me look stupid. It's all going to come down. We got to go back. I don't care. We got to go back to the way we were shooting the ball around 2 years ago. I don't care. Defense, get tired, yada, yada, whatever. Defense needs to make some plays. Defense, I know they play good, but they're still not out here, creating turnovers. That's, we're not doing that. We're getting stops, third down stops. Occasionally still giving up, a stupid third down play that shouldn't happen. Offensively, though, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to bounce back. I hope they do. They better. This week's got to be a statement game for them against Florida at Neyland. Rivalry game. I know everyone says crazy stuff happens. Florida does give Tennessee a hard time, even though it doesn't matter if they have them down here or not. I just don't know. I don't know if Tennessee's got that dog in them on offense right now. Running game hasn't been too bad. I feel like they get away from it sometimes. They like last week should have just kept feeding the rock to Dylan Sampson. We get away from him, bring in what's his name? The backup. I don't know. He pissed me off last week because he brought him in, and not only could he not run, then he couldn't pass protect. So that was a big goof up there.
Deshaun Bishop.
Yes, Bishop. Yeah, that turd. But And Nico, he's got to be able to make. He's got to be able to go through his reads. He's right now. He's almost like a one read guy, and he feels a little pressure. That read's not there, and I feel like he wants to tuck his tail and move. He wants to run.
You just got to
He wants
remember,
to, but he can't.
Milroe did the same thing last year, man. It's part of the game and him developing into a SEC quarterback, I think.
Yeah, I hope they can bounce back. They got to bounce back this week. Like, this almost to me is a must win for them. If you lose to Florida, I'm playoff chances. I mean, it's not like got a cakewalk. I know we got Alabama, Georgia, still got Kentucky, Gamecocks, whatever, and then of course Vandy. Look at Vandy right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like it's just going to be a walk in the park, and that game be in Nashville too.
Yeah.
So they better. I'm going to say they will bounce back. They better bounce back. It's not can they? They better bounce back this week, and they better look good doing it.
All
if
right.
they look in any way the way they did the last 2 weeks, they might as well just go ahead and pack it in and get ready for next year.
All right, Riddle, thoughts, comments on that?
I like this Tennessee defense. They had 2 tough road games back to back against Oklahoma and Arkansas. But if you go back and look, they have not given up 20 points yet in the game this year. And, they're supposed to beat the UTCs and the Kents, and they did. They did exactly what they were supposed to do in those games. But, North Carolina State, that was supposed to be a closer game. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma, Heupel came out and said that he held back
did say that.
He wanted to make it pretty conservative on Nico once they established the big lead, because they knew that Oklahoma was to their backup quarterback and didn't have the receivers, and they were really banged up. I don't like that. I think that's a good environment and a good game to
run it up. I don't care.
And he didn't take that opportunity. And then they came out against Arkansas and they were flat. Defense played well. I mean, they gave up 19 points and lost. But I don't care if it's a rivalry game. I know the history with Tennessee and Florida. If y'all lose this week, man, I just don't see it happening. But good Lord, nobody saw that in Alabama last week either.
Know.
So,
that's why.
Exactly.
That's why I'm not saying shit. I'm not saying anything.
It's hard to win in the SEC. A wise man named Nick Saban said that, a couple weeks ago. Hard everywhere except for Vandy. Apparently, Vandy has changed that for at least this year.
But like I told you, Nick Saban can say that. He gave up 16 points total in his career to Vanderbilt. He can say whatever the hell he wants. He can say whatever the hell he wants. All right.
Defense-wise,
for a reason.
Yeah.
Defense-wise, like I was saying, I still want to see them make some plays, create some turnovers. You can get away with playing really good against subpar, bad teams, because you don't have to create turnovers, because those offense aren't going to do anything. You keep going further in the schedule, you're going to have some offense that can probably move the ball a little bit. So occasionally, your defense is going to come up with a big play, meaning a turnover. We're not creating any turnovers either. They're playing good enough to win. They're playing good enough to win, but they're just not creating much turnovers. And you got to have that. You see Alabama, Georgia's defense do that for years now. They create a turnover now. Then Tennessee's still not creating a turnover.
Tennessee's only got 2 interceptions on the year, but they have forced 5 fumbles.
Yeah, against who?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
All right. Blake Henderson said, "Y'all get real." He wishes ECU was on our level. So, with that said, we're gonna go down a final rundown. We're gonna talk a little football. So here we go. Top 25 rundown. We're gonna do a little bit quick. Give your prediction. Let me know what you think. Utah, Arizona State, Friday night. Tony, you're up.
Utah, Arizona State. I'm gonna say Arizona State.
Arizona State 4-1, 1-1 in the Big 12, and big upset there, huh?
Utah's due for an upset. That's a yearly thing.
Yeah, it looks like
State's not too bad.
Without Cam Rising, Utah looks very pedestrian. So all right, Riddle, who you got?
That's what I thought too when they played Oklahoma State with Cam Rising out. I thought they were going to lose that one, and they found a way to win. I'm gonna go.
He'll catch up to him.
I'm gonna go with Utah. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Arizona State is playing really good football. It's at Arizona State. It's a big deal, but
Yeah, a few miles south,
think.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it's still the opponent's stadium.
Yeah.
And you think Vandy goes to Tuscaloosa and beats Alabama last week?
No.
Probably not.
No,
Absolutely not. Home
But-
field of college still
Well,
matters.
imagine
it
if
makes
they
a
did.
difference. It makes a difference.
But I'm going to take the road favorite here, and I'm going to go Utah.
All right, I'm gonna go Utah as well. I just think just the pedigree of Utah and the tradition of winning. They win games. So at the same time, I think they're going to be all right. So here we go. Next big game, the big game of the day. We got South Carolina at Alabama. Who do you got, Riddle? You're up first.
This is Alabama. Alabama is going to come out angry if DeBoer does his job. Alabama is going to come out disciplined, and they're going to come out angry, and or Beamer Ball is going to suffer for it. I just don't think South Carolina shocked me when they beat Kentucky the way they did, because Kentucky actually has a really good defense. But yeah, this isn't going to be close. I'm taking Alabama.
Tony.
It's got to be Alabama. I mean, it's going to be Alabama. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't, guess what? Someone has to be fired.
God, I
I'm
hope.
just saying.
I hope.
Someone has to be fired. If Alabama loses in Tuscaloosa to South Carolina, someone's heads should roll. You would
Yeah.
think.
As
Something's got
the
to change.
as a resident Alabama fan, I'm going to pick Alabama. I don't think we lose 2 in a row, but I'm going to tell you what I'll be watching on Pins and Needles, because we're all expecting not much anymore. But Blake Henderson in the chat said, "Hey, ECU starting quarterback has 13 interceptions. He leads the country in that. So and he's from Mizzou. So good for him. Getting back to the countdown, Clemson, Wake Forest. Who you got?
Wake's bad.
Yeah,
Wake's not very good.
yeah, Wake's bad.
That should be Clemson all day. That'd probably be like a 3-touchdown win for Clemson if I had to guess.
Okay.
Top of my head.
Riddle, quick.
Yeah, Clemson's just going to be too much for them. Since they lost to Georgia in the opener, Nick and those guys, they've been rolling. They've been putting up the points. The defense is back to what a Clemson defense should be, kind of. They're getting there. That's going to be – it's a 20-point spread for a reason. Clemson's going to roll in that one.
All right, we're going to go quick on this one, because this one shouldn't take much thought. Missouri, Massachusetts. Riddle, go ahead.
Missouri.
Let me think about this one. Missouri's dog water. I don't care. I hate them. Like I said, they weren't going to be good this year anyways. I mean, it's going to be Missouri. It should be Missouri. If it's not, then, hey, I'm happy with that too.
I got Missouri too. All right, going to the big game, the Red River Shootout, Texas, Oklahoma. We've kind of already picked it. We're going to cement it. So just put your stamp on it and move on. Let's go.
I'm still up in the air about it. Because, I mean, years out, and I like Arch Manning still. It's just rivalry game. It is 2:30. I'm gonna say Texas. I think if it was an evening game, I think I might go Oklahoma. And I know their offense isn't spectacular. The kid just, I mean, he gives that offense more, make a little more diversity.
Okay.
Prior to what they had, but I guess I'll go Texas.
All right.
I'll say Texas by like 10. How about that?
Riddle,
10 points.
I've got Texas in this one. Oklahoma's defense is decent. It's better than it has been in years past. But Texas's defense is really good. Their offense is really good. They're going to roll in this one.
Yeah, I got Texas as well. I think it's just too insurmountable as far as the talent and the depth of talent that Texas has right now versus Oklahoma. So Penn State, USC, kind of intriguing. It's at USC. Go ahead, Riddle.
I don't know about Penn State.
How she say it?
The jury is still out on them. I don't know if they deserve that number 4 spot yet. USC, they were supposed to be one of the big ones this year, and they have struggled of late. I really want to take USC at home, but I think Penn State will find a way to win this game.
Okay.
Penn State's blowing them out. It's a
All right,
blowout.
all right.
I've seen enough USC this year. They're
The Michigan
they're
game wasn't a
ass.
blowout. The Michigan game wasn't a blowout.
They're still ass. Look
I
at Michigan.
I
Look at the
agree. I
turnover
agree.
they've had. The
I agree.
turnovers, not turnovers. I'm talking about the turnover they had from
Yeah,
coaching position,
yeah.
players.
I agree.
All that. USC
So
sucks.
I feel like if this was a night game, just like you said, I feel like USC would be in better shape.
Yeah.
It's a long way across that country, but at the same time, Penn State's just got too much on defense.
Yeah, they got awesome defense.
Yeah.
Offense is sus, but I mean,
All right.
defense is there. So
This is the big game of the week for Tony. I know he'll be all ears for this one. Stanford at Notre Dame.
God, I know Notre Dame's a bunch of choke artists themselves.
It's
I'm just going.
it's
I'll take
Stanford.
Notre Dame just because they're home. Nah, I'm not
All
going
right.
to say Stanford. It's going to
Okay.
be. It's not going to be in Cal. So we'll just give it to Notre Dame this one time. I don't trust them, but
All right.
they should. I mean, they should win.
Okay. Riddle.
23-point spread. It would be a monumental upset for Stanford. They're not what they used to be. Notre Dame wins.
No.
All right, good deal. I got Notre Dame as well. Too much. All right, Cal and Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. Go ahead, Riddle. What do you think?
California,
They've been in some games.
they have. I mean, they're an enigma, really, but that's a long way to Pittsburgh, like you said, and that's an early start. I mean, I know they're already there probably, but still,
Yeah.
it's only a 3-point favorite though, so I think it's closer than some people expect. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take Pitt. Their undefeated record intact.
All right, Tony, what do you think?
Yeah. No, it's Pitt. It's going to be Pitt all day.
So, just so y'all know, fun fact: that quarterback for Pitt transferred
Yeah,
from the University of Alabama.
Yeah, he's played pretty good ball for him this year. Hey,
he has.
They played
He
a lot
has.
of games.
They have played
So,
very
man.
well. So, no disrespect there. All right, Purdue, Illinois.
Oh, that's Illinois. That's Illinois.
I don't think this.
Yeah.
Just go ahead, Tony. Just say Illinois so we can move on.
You take Pitt?
Yeah,
Yeah, I did
it's
take
Illinois.
Pitt.
It's Illinois.
No, Brandon.
Oh, I
Oh,
took Pitt.
Brandon,
Yeah, I
who'd
took
you
Pitt.
take?
I took Pitt. Yeah, I took Pitt. Sorry.
Yeah, Purdue sucks. If Illinois loses this one, then they just need to give up on football. Like, just no more.
No
This is
more.
their year to maybe have a chance to, make some type of playoff in football. If they lose this one, then they're done.
All right, real quick, Blake Henderson. Hey, I'm sorry, y'all, but does anyone around this country know or respect ECU? We used to be good.
I know.
Yeah. You used to have good players come out of there.
Yeah, CJ
Yeah.
2K.
Hey, keep putting out players like that, man. You might be relevant.
Yeah.
I have no issues with ECU. I like ECU.
I don't mind
always
ECU.
like them to death. I mean, they
I don't
gave
mind
us
ECU.
CJ 2K, so we can't say
Yeah,
anything bad about
2,000-yard rusher in the NFL. Yeah, we'll take that. All right,
Absolutely.
let's move on. Let's move on back to the countdown.
History.
All right. Yeah, right. You wish. Arizona, BYU. Go ahead, Tony. What do you got?
I think I'm gonna go Arizona.
Oh,
Yep.
Against the grain.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna
Fafita or
go-
whatever his name is out there in Arizona. He's
What is
playing.
it?
He's playing good,
Yeah.
but he's turnover
Yeah,
prone.
he's-
You got to
yeah,
be
I was
careful.
gonna say he makes stupid mistakes.
You got to be
but
careful there.
They can. I mean, they can move the ball pretty well. I mean, they got a pretty balanced run game. He makes them play themselves up, but like I said, he is kind of a turnover prone QB. If he doesn't have, I'll give him, if he has less than 2, I think Arizona will pull that out.
All right,
If he can
Riddle-
just cut down that bull crap.
Riddle, what do you got?
I actually was looking at this one too and kind of want to take Arizona. And the reason being is, BYU's quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, is their leading rusher with 156 yards on the year. I mean, they're one-dimensional. They destroyed K-State. They squeaked by SMU on the road. I wish it was at Arizona, and it'd be a slam dunk on Arizona here.
Yeah.
But, because they're at home, I think I will take BYU.
I'm going to go with BYU and the Fighting Mormons. I think they're just too sound of a team. Like for some reason, they just don't make a lot of mistakes that hurt themselves, and I think that's what ends up winning the game. So BYU for me. Moving on to the SEC blowout of the week, Mississippi State at Redbirds, Georgia. Take it away, Redbird.
This Georgia team has a lot of holes that recent Georgia teams haven't had. I can't figure it out. I know Bobo calling the plays, and it's been questionable. He's not really opening it up. Beck has not looked as good as he did last year. That being said, it's a 34-point spread. I will take Georgia in this game, but I don't think they cover.
Okay.
I was about to say that. Yeah, it's gonna be Georgia. Offense. The offense right now is still better than Tennessee's, but you know how they play. Again, they like Riddle said before many times, they don't try to just put the throat on somebody, and just end it in the first half. They'll drag this thing out to the end and win by like 3 touchdowns. That's just what they do.
Special.
So
Jab.
So I got Georgia. I got Georgia as well. Blake Henderson said, "What do you think about ECU's chances this week?" ECU's on the bye, so we think that as long as your quarterback doesn't get hurt walking to McDonald's, that's a win. That's a win, bro. All right, moving on. Florida, Tennessee. We kind of already touched on it, but Tony, what do you got?
Tennessee. I'm going to say Tennessee because I have to.
Yeah.
If they don't, then it's going to be hell.
If you don't, the season's over. I mean, that's what that
over.
means. That's what that means.
It's over.
So,
Yeah,
all right.
it's over if they don't
Riddle.
do something.
I think Tennessee's got too much talent. I do think Tennessee's going to win. The hell with the Florida history. There's been years that Tennessee should have really destroyed Florida and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is going to be a good bounce back week for Tennessee, and they'll get the job done.
Yeah, I got Tennessee. I think Florida stinks. I think they're just trying to find someone to take Napier. Could be Heupel. So here we go. With that said, moving on. We've already talked about the Ohio State, Oregon. Just give me a quick official, and then we'll move on. Riddle, go ahead.
I'm going to take Oregon at home.
Oregon at home. Oh my gosh! All right, big win. Big win. That'd be a big win for Oregon. Tony.
Both choke artists, but Ohio State.
Ohio State. All right, mark it down, Riddle. All right, moving on. We got some big boy football. Ole Miss versus. I took Ohio State.
Okay.
Got some big boy football here in the SEC. Ole Miss versus LSU. A little sneaky game here. Little sneaky game. LSU's been pretty good since their opening loss. Who do you got, Riddle?
All right, so this is at LSU, and it is at night, and we know that that's tough. If it's a day game at LSU, I don't think it matters as much, but it is a night game at LSU. I think LSU wins this one. I'm going with LSU.
Ooh. I think LSU has no defense.
Yeah, but
I don't think Ole Miss's defense is as good as it.
I know. They have Pete Golding. Trust me, I know how good their defense is.
I'm gonna go LSU also, and I don't think Ole Miss's offense is as good as advertised as well. They kind of remind me of Tennessee in a way.
All right.
They start playing a little bit better competition. The offense kind of, the stats aren't there anymore.
Well, I'm not going to give you a not so fast, my friend, but I am going to go with Joey Freshwater and the Ole Miss Rebels. Joey Freshwater. And we say Rebels on this podcast because that's who they'll always be. Joey Freshwater said.
I love Kiffin. Don't get me wrong. I know Tony does not. I love Kiffin, but I think LSU. I think LSU gets this one.
They could. It's at home. I agree with you. I got a feeling. So Iowa State, West Virginia.
God. I mean, this almost feels like a toss-up because I don't think Iowa State is like a dominant team.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're. I'm pretty sure they're ahead in turnover margin. West Virginia, it's West Virginia. This one. So I'm gonna go West Virginia.
All right, West Virginia it is. All right, Riddle, what you got?
I'm going to take Iowa State, but I will agree with Tony. Like they've not played I mean, it's the Big 12, so there's not much superior.
Yeah, that's every year.
They barely beat Iowa, and I don't know. The question's still out on them. I think their defense is pretty good, but I'm gonna take Iowa State.
She said the food's done if you're hungry. All right, I'm going to go with Iowa State. I think the talent is there. It just depends on if they put it on the field today. All right, we've already talked about K-State, Colorado, but we're going to make it official. Riddle, go ahead. What's going on, Jeremy?
Dion is a character, but I think they get exposed again this week against superior competition.
All right.
Kansas State, go look at those night games Colorado plays.
All right.
Kansas State.
I got K-State. So, all right. Last big game. This is the UConn Cornelius pick of the week. This is going to be Boise State traveling all the way out to Hawaii. Who is going to win this game?
I'll say Boise will, but like UConn, Cornelius probably say strange things happen in Hawaii, and they will not cover spread. So
that's a long way out there. That's a long way out there. I think Boise State's too good on in the running game. But Riddle, what do you got?
Yeah, that is one thing Jordan loves to say is that weird things happen in Hawaii, but I just don't see it. I mean, Boise State's running back. How do you pronounce his last name? Is it Genty?
I think it's Genty or something like that.
Patrick
Yeah.
Genty.
Yeah.
He's literally averaging 10.9 yards per carry.
Oh yeah, he's a dog.
He's got to be.
Carries, 1,031 yards, 16 touchdowns. He's one of two guys, in my opinion, that's at the top of the list for Heisman this year. Yeah. And I think he's not going to be able to stop him.
I think he's up there. All right, so real quick, we're going to do a special. Blake Henderson stayed with us the whole time. We're going to go over the remainder of ECU's schedule for him, and just to see, try to give him a little love. So East Carolina Army, who do we got? We got? We'll make it quick.
We talked about it earlier.
Yeah,
and I love Army. I really do. I think they're playing really good football, and I don't think ECU can beat Army.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Either.
All right. Blake, I'm going to make it easy on you. ECU's going undefeated the rest of the season. That's what I think's happening. So bottom line, ECU, you stayed with us the whole time. ECU's going undefeated. They're upsetting all this shit, and ain't nothing going to matter because ECU is going to be the one playing for the title. That's what I think's happening.
I'm not going to pull against ECU. If they pull the upset against Army, I'm here for it. I love the underdog.
Yeah.
But and it's at Army too.
All right. We're going to do a quick. Go ahead.
I'll give them Temple, FAU, Tulsa, North Texas.
All right. Hey, like I said ECU, man. I think they're going to the title game. All right. We're gonna do. We got Jeremy in the chat. What's up, Jeremy? Been missing you, bro. So we're gonna do a quick summation. Riddle, talk to me. Feelings going into the weekend. Final points. Go ahead.
I mean, my thing is Georgia, and they had a great second half coming back against Alabama. Don't like the fact that game started off the way it did. I think that they've got some serious issues that they're going to have to address. Obviously, big joking point when it comes to Georgia is their character issues off the field and the fact that apparently none of them know how to drive and
or beat
had another arrest with
Tony.
But there's something missing. I know they're allowing a lot on the ground, and you don't have the Jalen Carter, and you don't have the Jordan Davis, you don't have that Bear Alexander who's now at USC. You don't have that big nose guard anymore to clog up the running lanes like you have. But they've looked a step behind at times against inferior opponents, and that's always a scary thing. So I think they need to come out and really make a statement this weekend. I know it's Mississippi State, and I know it's a huge spread. If they could cover that spread, it would be a big deal. And I think they need it, honestly. They stayed at number 5 when two teams above them lost, and that says something to me. So they need to come out and look like the Georgia of old.
Okay. All right, Tony, final thoughts?
Well, Tennessee better win Saturday. And they
Man,
better dominate.
a few words.
I'm just telling you right now. They better come out high flying, Rolex wearing, all that stuff Saturday. If that offense comes out and looks the way it did, it's gonna be a problem with me. And I know there's gonna be a bunch of bootlicker Vols fans out there that they never see any wrong in anything that coaching staffs ever do. But
Thanks for the follow, Blake.
Yeah, they got to figure something out this Saturday. Right. And if they don't figure it out, well, they could still win. They could still win, not look dominant. But then I'm still not gonna be confident in them even beating Bama at Neyland. And then definitely probably not going to happen in Athens against Georgia. So, and then you got Kentucky, and it's just Tennessee better come away. They better look good. They better have some type of glimpse of what they look like 2 seasons ago. And I don't care if it's a different quarterback. I don't care if he's a freshman. He's getting paid $2 million. $2 million.
Yeah.
So let him sling it. I don't care. I mean, it's against Florida. This is a statement game. I don't want to see just winning by a touchdown or 10 points. It's got to be 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns.
Oh,
and
man.
offense, and Florida's offense does nothing because they let that turd do something to them again. Yeah. I think I just might lose my shit and not watch another game the rest of the year. No, I'm kidding. I
doubt it. All right. You're done. Okay. We're cutting you off.
Keep going.
All right. So Alabama, I'll just say this. This is a big game, like Tony mentioned, for Tennessee. This is a big game for Alabama. We know we have to go out and make a statement. Like, we can't mess around. We have to make a statement. We're up. We're a big favorite. We need to come out and show everyone who we are and that Vanderbilt was a fluke. The scary part about it is I don't know if it was a fluke or not. So the defense looked severely mismatched, and we're going to see what happens. But again, my big issue right now is just trying to figure out what's our identity on defense, and then try to keep up with the offense. The offense is playing great. We scored a lot of points on Georgia's, which I think still has one of the best defenses in college football. And I mean, I think we're a talented team. I just don't know if we're going to put it all together. But with that said, we're not going to get too deep into Alabama. We'll have plenty of time for that. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to say goodbye. We're going to try to get some topics for next time. So we plan on being back on here this weekend after some of these games play out, and we plan on doing the same thing with the Roundtable and getting some more personalities in here to try to mix it up with us. So if you liked what you heard, if you liked what you saw, please like, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. This is Locked, Loaded, and Goated. And when we're all on here, it's Lay in the Wood Roundtable. We're going to bring you the hardest hitting facts from people who aren't going to sugarcoat this shit. So if you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and follow. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon.